We've been on this campaign well before it hit national media, and now it's news being dropped out, which is different from what I've heard per ESPN. But reports came out last night. Was it ML football or JBA or JPA?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Either way, I know that we reported it on ourselves too from Woodward Sports. But Montez Sweat and Chase Young won't cost a first-round pick. They're not going to be as expensive as previously thought, right? As previously discussed by even ourselves. How you feeling about that, Spinny?
Yeah, we did the blind date yesterday, and the chat chose Montez Sweat.
Yeah, they did.
As the man they want to take him to Dwight Town. So I love to hear this. I love to hear that these guys aren't as expensive. If you
Blake Griffin, yo, ho.
Blake Griffin, yo, ho. If you could get one of these guys, one of these elite pass rushers to put next to Aiden Hutchinson, and it wouldn't cost you a first-round pick, I think you do it immediately. You pick up the phone and start dialing. Like, I think that you place one of those guys next to Aiden Hutchinson, and not only unlocks them, but it helps him take some of the pressure off him and gives you a guy that'll tear up the quarterback's booty hole. Like, I love to hear this, especially that it doesn't cost a first-round pick. Because I know how scared all you guys in the chat are, how scared certain people with this network are, Neil Rule, about, giving up a first-round pick. Brad Holmes cooks with first-round pick. We got to let Brad Holmes the first-round pick. That's the most important thing. No, the most important thing is getting guys on the field that are going to do damage. And if you get one of these guys on the field that you know will do damage, it will do nothing but better your team. And if you can do that without giving up a great asset in a first-round pick, that's a win-win in my heart.
Abso-freaking-lutely. And if I'm being honest with you, too, like, or even if it costs a first-round pick, like, if you're going to make the argument, like, and I get it, because I've been there. I've been on that side of the argument, too, at times. Like, with Brad Holmes, you want him to have as many bullets in the chamber, and that's what those draft picks are. You're taking shots at landing a guy that's going to be a stud for you. A first-round pick is just a little bit, it's a hollow point, if you will. But we have Jameer. We have J-Mo. Those are first-round picks.
Yeah.
Still kind of, Jameer, I think, is straight. J-Mo waiting on a little bit. To be more consistent at a 12th overall pick, I think I'm content with him. I know a lot more other people want to see a lot more out of him. But, no, if Brad Holmes is that nice with, like, the clip, regardless of the round, then I'm cool with sacrificing one or two of those to go get us a for sure stud, another hollow tip, a for sure hollow tip. Mm-hmm. Not even a maybe. It's a fucking grenade, if you will. I'm not talking about the fat kind from Jersey Shore either. Yeah. I'm talking about like a dog. And then Chase Young and Montez sort of just that. These reports conflict with what I heard going to like the Washington side of things, because like what I did is I watched Locked On Commanders, just hear what rumors are coming out of there, because I really see our side of things. And I heard that they weren't willing to give up those guys, but then they dropped last night. They are, so maybe kind of confused. And I was also looking at Jonathan Allen, who's been in the mix as well. And I thought, is he a Dan Campbell guy? I remember Dan Campbell said, like, we want to get guys, but we don't want to mess up the vibe we got going on here. At one point, I thought so, yeah. But then I remembered he socked Deron Payne on national television last year. You remember that?
Yes, he did.
So I was like, you talking about vibe? Like, I wonder if that's like specifically like what he was talking about. Is Jonathan? These guys, they fit that Dan Campbell mold, that Dan Campbell player.
Personally, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care.
But obviously Dan Campbell
does.
They pass that threshold for you?
I think Sweat and Young do.
Yeah.
I think those are Dan Campbell guys. Those are guys that seem bought in, that love football and want to play football, want to play winning football. And you look at, maybe Jonathan Allen isn't, because he's punching teammates on the sideline. And he's saying, fuck this fucking shit in the interview.
Post-game interview.
So maybe
I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah, I'm tired of this fucking bullshit. It's 7 years of this shit. So maybe he is not a Dan Campbell guy, but Sweat and Young haven't done anything, or I haven't seen anything out of them that's like, no, that's not a Dan Campbell guy. But I was laughing because you guys should have seen Easy's face when I fucking coughed Neil Rule. Your face lit up. You got so happy for a second because I was going at Neil.
Neil always got smoke.
Like a child on
nice.
Christmas.
He's
Jeff played
speechless
nice
right now.
It feels like you're always more BDE than you are heavyweights, man.
What?
Sometimes it feels like you love BDE more than heavyweights.
You just sound like
so that's why I was like, oh.
Bro sounds like a jealous girlfriend.
That's what I'm saying.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm a jealous co-host.
That's fair.
Don't want to share you.
That's fair.
All that bussy.
Share that thick
all that
ass.
budussy.
That warm ass.
Oh.
Gross. But I think Sweat and Young fit the mold of Dan Campbell guys. I'm not gonna say those guys are. I haven't heard anything about them being problems in the locker room, being angry, aggressive, nothing like that. To me, what I've seen from them in their career is they show up, and when they show up, they play winning football. They want to play winning football. They want to be a part of something that can lead to success. So,
yeah.
And they're both very good at their fucking job. So go get one of them, please.
Yeah, and then I'm still kind of like at a crossroads or kind of in a mix-up too. Because here's the thing. The Washington Commanders, they're either getting rid of Allen for sure, and I still think Allen could maybe be a Dan Campbell guy because you saw the passion, and it comes out of like losing football games. Obviously, I think Dan Campbell wants guys that are passionate about winning football games, but the reality of life is you're not going to be able to win them all. So and we've already come back from like 1-6. Like, how are you going to act in those moments of turmoil? You're going to be punching your fucking teammates, or like what's going on? But the reason why I feel like that still makes a little bit of sense is like, if the reports I saw from the Lockdown Commanders, and again, this is a day earlier than the reports that came out last night, are true, that they don't want to get rid of Sweat or Young, it makes sense they would want to get rid of Allen so they can afford a Chase Young or a Montez Sweat.
Yeah.
Versus, like, you can't pay all those guys.
But for me, it's if you wanted those guys, if you wanted to keep those guys, why wouldn't you pick up their fifth-year option?
Yeah.
They didn't pick up either of their fifth-year options.
So that's the other part, too, is like, well, there's an ownership change in the middle of it, too, you know? That kind of like surpass where you could put down that fifth-year option to decide what you're doing with the future. Now, obviously, Magic Johnson, he's a minority owner. He's not like a majority owner. That's Joe, whatever his name is, Joe Pesci, whatever.
Joe Pesci.
I don't know. The same guy who owns the Nets.
Yeah.
But obviously, he wants to win. He's been vocal on Twitter anytime they're losing games, calling out coaching and slow starts and stuff like that. So like maybe they're like, fuck that, we want to win now. And I don't know. I'm very curious. Brad needs to do something, though. I still think we can win the number one seed. Don't get me wrong. The Detroit Lions team is going to continue to win games. They're going to continue to place themselves high up on seeding in the NFC playoffs when it comes by. But, again, I want to win the whole damn thing.
Yeah,
excuse me for wanting to win a championship, but, like, I'm tired of the fucking low-hanging fruit. I'm tired of the jokes. I'm tired of, like, seeing this team get demolished by a Ravens team after thinking they're, like, championship worthy. And now I'm, like, back to, like, I don't even know what to expect, you know?
Yeah.
Chris, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to speak on the ownership part because I think that's a big deal. How many times do we see in every single sport that when an owner comes in, they want to put their imprint on the team, whether it's the coach, whether it's the GM, whether it's the roster, whether it's all three. We've seen that all the time. I mean, you know, we love shout out Matt Ishbia, but when Matt Ishbia went and got the Suns, what did he do? He within an hour traded everything he had to get Kevin Durant, like, you know, and then fired Monty Williams and completely just overhauled the entire roster. So this is just what ownership change does, and I think that plays a part in it, and I think that could lead to the Commanders doing a fire sale. But at the end of the day, you're right. Brad Holmes has to make a move. We've said this before, and we'll say it again, because you just don't know how long your window is in the NFL. Who's to say that the NFC isn't a lot better next year? And while this team could be slightly better, the competition could be a lot better. Like right now, it seems like there's only 2 to 3 teams in the Lions' way. And those 2 to 3 teams are making moves and making calls right now. So you have to do something, because otherwise you're going to get left. And you can talk yourself into, this isn't the year, next year's the year. But it's football. Things change. Worst to first, all of these things happen. Rosters change very quickly. Title windows open and close very quickly. All of this stuff changes on the flip of a dime. So to me, the title window starts now, and you have to make a move.
Yep, that's where I'm at too. And a little update on the Brian Burns stuff too, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to my guy Mike Payton from AZ Sports. He had a tweet out today that I don't know if he was. Got to look up to see the name of their GM, but he had mentioned that Brian Burns is not for sale. He will not be leaving the Carolina team, which is kind of mind blowing to me. But I also understand David Tapper is one of those like super aggressive owners as well. Maybe too aggressive. I feel like he's put him in a bad spot by trading up for Bryce Young, because they need a lot more in that team. It looks like they want to compete.
Yeah,
and that's a winnable division too. And
that is a very winnable division.
But yeah, pretty much update on Detroit Lions trade rumors. Pat Surtain for sale. We talked about that a little bit yesterday too.
Yeah, Broncos fire sale. Everybody's for sale.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they
everyone
listed pretty much their whole team. They're for sale. Come get some. I mean, we'll see, man. The Lions need to make a move. They need to make a move if they want to compete with the top teams in the NFC this year, which I think they do, and which I think you as Lions fans want them to do. compete against the teams that are leading the NFC, to be a part of that, to be in that same caliber, you need to add something on the defense.
I'm with you. I think defensively is where the move needs to be made. I know in our group chat, was Broder flirting with like he wasn't necessarily counting out a trade for a wide receiver?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're bringing back Tom Kennedy. They don't need anybody else.
Yeah. But does that mean they're looking for? I mean, them bringing him in, does that show they're looking for that wide receiver?
Possibly. I don't know if they're going to make a move for a wide receiver though.